Hello. I've been listening to a lot of things on the Facebook and on the YouTube, the local broadcasts, and the news channels. And I hear people speaking on the situation where the African American man was choked with the knee and murdered. They're saying that this was the spark that set off the flames, the spark that set off the flames, or the straw that broke the camel's back. Well, I can imagine, just you for imagine a camel with a big old pile of hay on his back. Uh, and you reach down and grab one more straw and stick it up there, and it breaks his back. Well, that last straw was a problem for us. We didn't want to load them down, but I'm sure that the camel, would think that all the other straws were the problem. Uh, just think about it for a moment. The camel probably thinks, I could have handled that last straw. It was all these others that broke my back. Those were the problems, you know. So that's the kind of position that that our people are in right now. They've got all these straws on their back, and then they put one more on, and it kind of broke the back a little bit there, and things hit the fan, you know. So we're talking about these leaders. It's people that they put in front of you to talk to you about various different things. They'll tell you one thing that's true. Uh, we're suffering. And then they'll say, that's true, we're suffering. And you'll believe it. And you'll be emotionally tied into the conversation already. And they believe, they'll say, it's tied to the coronavirus and this mass unemployment. No, no, no. Unemployment has never been our problem. Employment has. That's been a problem for a very long time. Or they say that we can't trust our leaders. That's the reason I'm here now, because many of the times the people are they're implants, they're planted inside the to lead you back onto the path that they want you on, back to work. You know, if you suggest that unemployment was the problem, the solution is to get people jobs, and that's not fixing getting people jobs. It's not fixing the Floyd problem, the police problem. Certainly, I've experienced problems with the law enforcement myself from time to time, and so you have to be careful of the people that they put in front of you to speak to you on various issues, because they'll just kind of tell you a truth and then shoot you a little lie. You know what I mean? Tell you another truth, shoot you a little lie, have you believing it, like freedom is not free, or like humans are made to do work. Humans are not made to do work. Humans are made to be active. And so we gotta, just like a cat flips over when you drop it and lands on its feet, well, human beings have this reaction to be active as well. So, and they're taking advantage of that. So I really don't think we have any leaders outside of just one young lady I heard say something that was very valid. I can't really say that. I've heard many people say some valid things, but then they go back to the original um, traditional, conditioned and socialized, well socialized way of thinking of things. So you have to be careful about the people that they put in front of you, because they're planted there. And some people are educated. You got to watch out for the educated people, because our education today is not the education that you might think. That's one of the straws on the camel's back, especially for African Americans. Uh, we go to school, we get an education, we go through what you call a program of study. Think about that word program. When you come out of there, you're programmed to do a certain thing. You didn't learn to be enlightened. I don't care if you did take philosophy and you majored in philosophy. You were educated to be closed minded in that school of thought, philosophical thought. So, how do you avoid that? That's another story for another time. So, you got to watch out for these people that are programmed to say and parrot and echo the things that they have heard from the media, certainly their educations and things like that. So a person probably like, well, what are you talking about? Well, obviously, I'm the same thing. We can only learn. We can only learn, and when we do learn, we have to kind of learn from many different perspectives. That way, you get to chance to draw a good bead on an issue. You can't just study from the medical field or the engineering field or the legal field or the historical field. You can't do that, just one of them. But if you study them all, it'll give you a nice little bead point where you can draw better conclusions to some of the problems that we have. Uh, these type of people, anybody suggesting to you that they want to create more jobs or create more work for you, you can call them any type of derogatory adjective that you would like, and it'll probably fit them just fine. Um, outside of the people that are very innocent and just naive. I mean, really, we take a look at it. We'll go from the let's take it from the Darwinian perspective. All right, and then we'll take it from the Christian perspective. First, Darwinian. Let's say we've been in civilization for 10,000 years, 7,000 years, 5,000 years. We've been in civilization. Okay, so just imagine the first two people get together and they decide they're going to work together to get something done, to make it more efficient, make life easier for them. That's the whole purpose. All right, so one person says, well, I'm going to pick up sticks for the flames all day, and what you do is you pick the apples. Okay, that's fine. And so instead of having to stop picking up sticks and go picking apples, which is on the other side of the forest, he could stay there and pick apples all day long and come up with enough apples for him and two other people. So they'll have an overabundance. And this other person gathering firewood could gather enough firewood for 2 days instead of just one this time. So tomorrow they can take the day off. And the next day they find another person, and this person, they say, you want to join the group? And the person says, yes, I want to join the group. He says, well, what we're going to have you do is we're going to have you fetch water. So if you bring back water all day, we should have enough water to last us for 3 or 4 days. And we'll have the apples that we need. If you get my point, working together like that, more people over and over again and continually over the course of, I don't know, 10,000 years, 7,000 years, 5,000 years. I don't really care how you want to look at it. And we should have come to the point now that people shouldn't be working for food. People shouldn't be working for food. They shouldn't be working to stay on Earth. They shouldn't have to pay to stay on Earth. And they shouldn't have to pay to die here. That's ridiculous. You're an American. If you have to pay to die on American soil, that civilization has failed. In other words, if it's been there for 10,000 years and you haven't figured out a way inside the system to be able to feed all your offspring without charging somebody extra, that's a failed system. Okay? And so let's take it from the Christian perspective then. Let's go from the Christian perspective. I went to church, I read the Bible, I was preached to. I'm not claiming to be a Bible scholar, but I do recall, I think, and I'm probably wrong, but there was this sin in the Garden of Eden where they ate a fruit or something of that nature, and the serpent tricked them into doing it, and they got in trouble with God. And what he did was he cursed them, kicked them out of the garden. He told them that they should have to toil by the sweat of their brow. The woman was going to have hard labor. The serpent was going to go on his belly for all his days, and that his head should be bruised by the heel, and the heel should bruise his head, and things like that. Well, so they bring that to us as a reason why things are the way they are. But then a little bit later comes into it, Jesus Christ comes into it, and he dies on the cross for remissions of sin. This is what I was told. I don't even think it's mentioned in the Bible anywhere, but this is what I was told, that he died on the cross for the remissions of all sins. He went down and took the keys of hell away from Satan, and then the people that were born before he sacrificed his life on the cross, well, he died for their sins, and for us, he saved us through grace. Later on, he goes to say through the Bible. Now, I don't know. I might be wrong. I could be totally off base, but I thought that Jesus died for our sins. He didn't say that. I don't recall in the Bible saying that he died on the cross for everybody's sins except for Adam and Eve's sin. I don't think we live under the curse anymore. We've got all types of medications and chemicals and shots and epidurals and things that we can give women for childbirth now. So the snake bruising his head, and he bruising the heel, and we're not getting along with the serpent. People got snakes for pets. You go to petting zoo and you can pet yourself a snake or whatever. I don't believe it's any longer necessary to work for food. I did a small calculation about how long it would take for a person to eat an apple and to plant a seed, and then how much time it would take. How much time it would take for a person to eat an apple and plant a seed versus how much time it would take for a person to work a job to pay for a 99-cent apple. And you'd be surprised. I think it came up to be, at $20 an hour, came up to be, we're doing 56% more work than we need to do just to buy an apple at 99 cents if you're making $20 an hour. That's not right. And so I feel like that the original sin has been forgiven. I feel like Jesus Christ's work on the cross was sufficient, and it did work. Okay, so you really have to pay attention to the little things that these people are putting forward to you. Like they want to create. Anybody that's telling you want to create, we should be trying to raise the unemployment rate. We should try to raise the unemployment rate. That's the objective and the reason for coming together as a civilization, as a culture, as a community, to make it easier, not to create work for people. The best that we can. It should be a news broadcast. Come on, special bulletin report. 100 more people were lifted out of the bonds of manual labor today. But that's the thing that we should be trying to do. The world is gone completely. It is backwards. I can't say it's gone. It's been backwards for a long time, except for in a few select places throughout history, they tried to get it right, and normally they were conquered or they were encumbered by some other power trying to keep them from developing this. Uh, I don't want to say commune because we don't want communism. We don't want socialism. We don't want fascism. We don't want any of that. We want Americanism. If we can find a way, and we can, it's laid out before us. All we got to do is try. Uh, right. All we got to do is try. Like I said, as far as those other cultures that have tried, we got powers working against us to keep us from getting there to that point. And that's exactly what's going to happen this time as well. None of this stuff is going to be solved um, until you get the Democrat up there and the Democrat says, uh, okay, we're going to stop killing you. We're going to stop destroying your homes. We're going to stop pumping you information through visual information through computers and televisions and telephones that show the black family just being absolutely destroyed. Uh, we're going to start allowing your young men and young women to socialize in school during their crucial periods of socialization process. That's a big thing. Did you know that they keep our kids separate in school? The boys, little boys, and little black boys and little black girls, and it happen to be some other people in there too. But for the majority of it, they don't get to socialize with each other. They keep them separate at lunch, and this translates over into adulthood and being able to cope with one another on a social basis, and it's the source of much of the dysfunction in the family. So you have things like that that a person has to look at. Those are just straws on the camel's back. Unless the Democrat gets up there or the Republican or whoever, unless they get up there and tell you, say, okay, we not gonna lock you out of the school building away from your children anymore. We're not gonna. You can have access to your kids without asking anybody for permission at any point in time that you want to. Let's try to say school safety and all this kind of stuff. Well, what's more important? You're going to have to find a whole different education system or something. You're talking about hard problems that people are going to have to sit down and solve and talk about and find out what to do about it. Because just because it's a hard problem doesn't mean that you get to violate human rights, human conditions, and human expectations. Human expectations to be able to go in and see your child at any point in time that you want to. I guarantee you take a look at it, so many black men not allowed in the school building because they have some of these records, bogus records, records that are stimulated and caused by a lot of the other straws that are on the camel's back, you see. And but I can tell by the way things are going, the things that I'm hearing, that they're herding people back onto the right path. The resistance is nice, it's nice and strong. The problem is that I was out early this morning and I saw, I guess, what was supposed to be some revelers or protesters or whatever. They weren't really protesting anything. They were just out doing crazy stuff, and blocking off the street, driving up and down the street, disobeying the stoplights and all this kind of stuff. I can understand that. I certainly can understand that. But it was um, it was sparked. It was started, but it was not um, thought out. Right now, our people are being used as sacrificial lambs. You see, we're being used as sacrificial lambs. It could be, what is that? Antifa. It could be Antifa. Shoot, it could be anybody. It could be Cuba, Austria, Hungary. Everybody got secret societies planted all throughout everybody else's uh, countries, sales and things like that to start civil unrest and things like that. Uh, the first thing that a person will do is say, "No, it's not them. It's not Antifa or whatever." No, you must always be skeptical. You must always be skeptical. And I'm not saying that to tell you not to follow any black leaders. You know, that's kind of like you can't talk about, say negative things about Jesus or God because you might prevent the goodness from going forward at all. You know, I'm not trying to keep the goodness from going forward at all. We need that, okay? But they're not organized. It's not organized. You need to be making a statement, a real statement. You get yourself, instead of, we live in the United States of America. This is our country. We built this country. Not just us, everybody, all of us. We all built this country. And that flag represents us. If the flag is offensive and hasn't stood for the right thing, it's our job to make it unoffensive and make it stand for the right thing. You take a stick pin and poke your finger, wipe it on the flag, the white part of the flag. Hold the flag up high. Hold, my blood is on the American flag. All our blood is on the flag. This is ours. We have to respect that. We need to respect that. If we don't, then outside influences outside of the United States can sneak in to our movement. You see, and we'll be able to detect them by the way that they treat our flag. By the way they treat our flag. I know the guy taking the knee during the flag presentation of the national anthem and whatnot. Yes, that was him. It caught on, and so it became a thing. You see, but truly, uh, if you're gonna do something like that, you want to take a knee, put your blood on the flag, and hold the flag above your head. Take a knee, hold the black flag above your head. Put your blood on the flag. Don't let it touch the ground. We can fix America. We can do that. That's something that can be done. But I know you're like, how in the world could that be done given all the problems? Well, first of all, they've taught us, they've socialized us to ignore our good leaders. Yeah, and that's a hard one right there. How do you detect a good leader? Well, when you I can't give you any advice on that one, not really. But you think about human rights. When a person is going along with human rights and they're not trying to destroy your country, that's an outside influence. If we destroy the American flag and disrespect the American flag, that means that they don't need to listen to us. Our government is about the flag. That means we totally disrespect our government, which we might. We might do that. But it would be a much better statement, much better movement to get more people involved. for you to go out on your protest and everybody carry a flag. Hold your flag high. Then watch them, let them show pictures of people hoisting the American flag up getting gassed. People holding the American flag up getting rubber bullets, knocked down and beat up. And when you're on the ground, make sure you keep the flag off the ground. Don't let it touch the ground at all. They kick you, hit you, shoot you, whatever. Keep the flag off the ground. It'll bring about change. It'll bring about change. This other stuff, it's easy to respond to that. The United States of America is the greatest nation in the world at responding to disrespect of its authority and its flag, what it stands for. Strongest military in the world, so they say. I mean, historically, we go into that. That might be a whole different story as well. But that's all I'm going to leave you with right now. And I went way over on this video. I don't think I was very cohesive at all on a lot of things that I'm saying. But I'm just saying, the straws on the camel's back. The one that broke it, yes, it was a problem. But as the people, as us, we are the camel. The main problem is all the rest of the straws. That's what the camel would think. The camel would say that last straw you put on there wasn't a problem. I could have carried that one. It's these other problems. And people don't want to deal with it. They get their checks, they're happy. They get their money, they're happy. This is all a part of the socialization system and the control of bread and necessary resources. When a person profits off of the basic needs of another person, that's slavery. If you don't have water, a place to stay, and food, and you have to work for it, it's called slavery. So that you know that. If a person is profiting off your basic needs, that's slavery. They didn't beat the slaves up all the time. They need them slaves to be healthy. Or they could just deny the slave water. Deny them some water. Thirst will drive them to get to work. Food will drive them to get to work. Taking their kids away from them will drive them to get to work. Doing something. Doing as they're told. You see. So I'm going to go. And thank you for your time.